Sure, I'm Karlie and I run Glaswegian Westwood, which is basically a mini blog that I run in my spare time, and it bases around the street style in Glasgow. To cut a long story short, it basically came about when I sort of looked about looking for street style blogs because I'd actually been spotted by two before, and they were both on two different occasions. And I was wondering, I wonder if there's like a blog that's still running in Glasgow. And I sort of had a wee look around on the internet and found that there were a few, but they weren't active anymore. They were a good like maybe 2 or 3 years back. And I sort of played around with this idea of maybe actually starting to look at street style because I found that quite interesting, and then didn't think too much of it because I started uni. But come 3-4 months after, and having actually been aware of what was happening on the street, I decided it's too good to miss, so I just sort of started it as a hobby. I considered it for a while. I've had friends, encourage me like, oh, you should run a style blog on yourself, and thinking about it, I think I'm more excited about street style because of the spontaneity of it. You go into the street and you don't know what you'll find, whereas when it's about yourself, it's very much, I don't know, I don't think I'm too keen on it. I'm definitely more up for street style of Glasgow. To say, I think within a month of starting it, I was thinking of dropping it because I felt quite embarrassed that I was sort of hoarding all these images on my own, and it would just be me looking at it. And although I wouldn't have minded too much if it was, very much personal, because I did set out doing it for myself. But ever since, and all my friends and friends of friends, and then people I've met who've actually gotten into it, I'm really surprised. I'm ecstatic about the response, to be honest. I wouldn't have thought it had gotten to this point. even in the minor parts, even if it's praise from friends, that was great enough for me. But definitely, like, landmark moment came when Gordon, who runs Scott Street Style, gave me a wee boost, and it was dead nice. I just didn't think, that, I don't know, I just didn't think it would occur. And then the fact that maybe a few months after, and I posted a couple of photos, and it just so happened the Advanced Style documentary came out, and I tagged Advanced Style and Aries F. Cohen, found out about my photos and my blog and stuff. So that was another major moment when just knowing that Aries F. Cohen liked a photo. My own personal style, I think definitely quite sartorialist, very sleek, quite masculine. Definitely feel that, and a bit of vintage in there thrown in. Have I always loved fashion? A wee bit, half and half. It never really came about until leaving high school, and I started realizing, oh God, I have to dress properly like an adult for uni. So it's not really come about until recently. And as to who really inspires me, I've got to say Marlene Dietrich, the German film star back in the 30s and 40s. Just her androgynous style is absolutely divine, and just the masculinity is so sexy. So I'm trying to sort of emulate that in some of my own personal style. But I suppose. Oh, it's really hard. I get asked this question all the time, and I'm always really struggling to come up with the answers. As to what makes style, I think personality takes 80% of it, to be honest, and character of the person. So it's really hard to judge whether a certain style works for me, and it's such a subjective thing. What works for me might not work for you. It happens with all things. So that's why I've thought the street style blog actually was quite personal to begin, because it is very much in how I interpret it. And as for what catches my eye, it's really depending on what you wear and how it moves. It could be just minor thing, maybe just a handbag, and then I'm like, that's me, that's the whole outfit sorted. Or maybe it's just like color coordination. I'm really big on color, so it's really hard. Sometimes I get that feeling where my heart just leaps, and then I know I've got to get a photo, whereas sometimes I'm like, oh, should I or should I not? And then it really depends. It's weird. It depends on my mood as well. Oh yeah, because the first guy I photographed was quite a handsome guy, and I was really worried that it looked as if I was picking him up, and I didn't want that at all. So it felt really awkward to begin with, because I didn't know how to sort of approach someone without sounding predatory, almost. But it comes with practice, and even like 2 weeks ago when I was out again, I haven't really done much over the Christmas holidays just because I was busy. And I got the nerves again, and I just froze up, and yeah, ended up losing some photos because of that. Don't know whether you know Mildred, the 80-year-old who I photographed within maybe like the third week or something of starting the blog. She was definitely like a wow, like a hit for me, just because of I didn't think there were people like that in Glasgow, and after taking her photograph, it just made me realise that I've got to continue on, because who's going to notice these people? You know, even I find it hard to notice people who are on the streets, and I'm in Glasgow all the time trying to get photographs, let alone people who just sort of come into Glasgow once a week or something like that. So I think Mildred and quite a few artists and designers I've managed to catch. Julie Verhoeven for one, and when I first met her, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who she was, and she was just so striking. You know, she even in her personality, she was just so bubbly, and her friend as well, Emma Greenhill. And then afterwards, I googled who it was I photographed, and I went, oh no, they were actually really famous. And I was like, oh. So a couple of starstruck moments. Definitely, I think the two are so linked. It's intrinsic, you know, you can't really separate the two. And I think, and I've talked about this before, whereby like the fashion blog isn't so much fashion orientated, you know, it has been noticed that it's more of a fine art approach, so that I look at it in terms of actually the people rather than just style, you know, purely aesthetics. I mean, there are parts where you can just see it's colour, and I'm just like, wow, colour! But yeah, it's definitely, for me anyway, fine art. You know, even if it didn't make it as a street style blog, I'm happy as a personal research blog that I'm using myself. Oh, I'd love to. I wouldn't block that path. You know, I study painting, so I'm hoping more of a fine art direction. But if fashion was offered, I'd be more than happy to take it. That would be a dream come true. I think being able to balance the two, that would be pretty decent.